Hey guys, welcome to another class. In this class we will test the resistor and the resistor. It is one of the components that requires a little more patience for you to be able to test it. Why? Because normally the resistor, as you can see, we have one here and this one is a resistor. The plate nomenclature is always R and it has a number on its body. 103. This number here is important because all resistors have a number at the top, a number accompanied by letter or not, or simply a number. In this case, here is 103, the 103. What does this number mean? First, you have to understand that this component of the board will limit the electric current in a circuit. That is, it can transform electrical energy into thermal energy. So it is a very important component for the board. And how are we going to test it? First, we have to know what value this component has on the wave scale, which scale that we are going to test. So 103, I'm going to show you the calculation and how it's done. However, you can already calculate this value by simply typing a number that is in the body of it, which, in this case it is 103, on sites that do this calculation. All this data I'm talking about is in the handout, okay? For what? Because you have to calculate it on the ohm scale on the multimeter and see if it will give the same value shown in the calculation of this site, okay? And with that you will already be able to test. But I'll explain to you how it works. Let's go. 103, the last digit is always the number of zeros. Guys, so let's go. The first two, 10 and the last digit 3 are repeated. That is 10. 0, 10,000 watt, 10,000 ohms. Another interesting piece of information for you. Every 1,000 ohms equals 1k ohms. That is, every 1,000 will equal 1k. So if there are 10, 3 is the last number. So 3 zeros, 10,000. 10,000 ohms, so it's 1 okay. And if he suddenly becomes a problem, what do you have to do? You always have to replace it with the same one. It has to be exactly in this format. He is usually black on his body. So he is very simple and it has to be exactly for this reason. Same component of 1 okay, i.e. the 103. Another very interesting tip from him is that the resistors with 3 digits that come on top of your body, like in this case 103, it has a tolerance error of up to 15%. Okay, so let's go. If you measure and it shows, for example, 9k, okay, you are within the tolerance error from him. If it shows, for example, 6k, 7k, of course not. It has already escaped his tolerance. He has a problem now with the 4-digit resistors on top of the body. If it was, for example, if it was 1001, for example, a resistor was 1001, that is, for digits. On top, it only has a 1% error tolerance. And if you exceed this tolerance, you have to remove it from the board and test it off the board, okay? Guys, so that this measurement is really a reliable measurement. Here's another tip as well. Usually he is always black in color. So his body is usually black in color. Okay, obviously voltage tips I'll add as well. It will also be in the handout. So you can get some important voltage tips and how to test this component. Come on, he's number 103. Know that 103 equals 10,000 ohms, so 1 okay? How am I going to test it? On the ohm scale. Here is the ohm scale. Okay guys, let's go. Let's put it on the 2 okay scale. That is, it goes up to 20,000. I just need 10 to be able to test the problem before. It will give a little less. So come on guys. I touched the black LED to the red LED of the multimeter. In order to reset it, let's go. This resistor is a resistor with 4 legs on each side. Okay, what will you do? Red tip on the first leg, black tip on his equivalent leg. On the other side you can observe that the multimeter is showing 9.93k ohms. Okay, that is, it is within tolerance. He's perfect. Same thing on the last leg down here. 9.65k. Perfect. It's still in tolerance. So guys, if he's in tolerance, there's no problem. He's okay. And how are we going to test it on the scale? He with the board connected to test the same thing in DC 20 volts. Come on, call. I'll turn on the board. Remembering that is here, I switched to 20 volts. Remembering that black tip is not on land. Okay people. Red tip on the first leg. Okay guys, on his first leg, it's already there giving 3.40 volts. Okay, so it's perfect. I know it's coming. Voltage across it. Voltage across the component. A voltage of 3.40 volts, so that component is working. Okay guys, and he has to present the same tension on both sides. So let's go. Red LED on the other side. Same thing, 3.40 volts. Perfect. With that, we already conclude that this component is working, that it is not showing any kind of problem, both on the motherboard turned off and the motherboard on. And we can now continue our search for another component. Okay, everyone. It is obvious that the entire symbol part in the electronic schematic is also included in the handout, as well as other tips. So take a look at the handout, that is very interesting. People can go to the next class.